trackside. This is IMSA Radio.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome along to our continuing live coverage of action from the Circuit of the Americas as the IMSA WeatherTech Championship inexorably heads towards its finale at the Petit Le Mans meeting in a couple of weeks' time. We have a small matter of a race here on this Formula One class circuit in Texas. It's qualifying, we're setting 4 pole positions, and it's live next here on IMSA Radio.
The WeatherTech Sports Car Championship on IMSA Radio.
Jeremy Shaw and John Hindorf in the booth. The GTD class will be qualifying, 15 minutes on the clock. Nothing clever about this, nothing to have to worry about in terms of doing any mental arithmetic. Nobody gets dropped out at any times. You put 15 minutes on the clock, you send people out with a new set of tyres, normally. They get out around the track, they drive around for 15 minutes, and the person on pole position is the person with the fastest time. It is as simple as that. And Jeremy, we've had fantastic qualifying all this season. Really time for very many changes, other than maybe a little tweak of a tyre pressure for the guys in these 15-minute sessions, particularly when you've got a 3.5 mile, 5.5 kilometre lap, as you have here at Road America. At Road America? Gone back 3 rounds. Here at the Circuit of the Americas. Part of it was right. Just rearrange that into the right track, please. You don't really have time to mess about. Get out there. You've got to be right as soon as you roll out of the pit lane.
Well, that's exactly right, and we've seen, I think, all of the manufacturers, except perhaps with BMW, have scored a pole position this season. So it's been wide open in GTD, and we saw BMW quickest in the first, I think, 2 practice sessions of this weekend yesterday. So maybe that streak can be extended. That's, you know, streak, not necessarily a streak, but the record of different manufacturer contenders on the pole position in GT can be continued. It's certainly going to be exciting. We saw a Porsche right up at the front there at the end of that last practice session, and we've seen all of the manufacturers at one stage or another this weekend vying for the top positions.
So the GTD classes, GT Daytona class, is effectively FIA GT3, around about 160, 170 miles an hour, where conditions allow. It won't be a lot less than that here, quite frankly. These cars are pretty slippery. They don't have the downforce of the GT Le Mans classes. All racing on VP E10 fuel with Continental tyres as the single tyre manufacturer in this category. And it is a Pro-Am class, this. That is the key part. Driver who qualifies needs to start the race, or it will give you a penalty. Move to the back of the grid, and you must start on 3 of the 4 tyres as well that you run your qualifying lap on. Again, otherwise that will send you to the back of the grid. And in terms of the spread down through the season, Jeremy, pretty much every manufacturer has had a bite at it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I lied, actually. Dodge hasn't been on the pole. Yeah. They've won 2 races, but they haven't been on the pole this season. But it is wide open, and the Dodge Viper has won the race here the last couple of years as well. Probably won't be in contention for the pole, because I'm sure Ben Keating will be qualifying number 33 car. He's not up to the same pace as Jerome Blekemolen, but number 80 car with Dan Knox and Mike Skeen. Don't know who is nominated to drive that car. I would imagine it would be Dan Knox. Mike Skeen certainly has been fast in that car all weekend long. That's a Lone Star Racing Dodge Viper, the yellow and blue car.
Well, Shea Adam is down in the pit lane. Let's go for a report from her. Shea, not everyone will be going out to qualify. What can you tell us, Shea?
Very, very out of character. The number 33, Ben Keating, Jerome Bleekum, defending race-winning car. The number 33 not on the pit lane to qualify, and there is no sign of life at their pit box. So that could turn into a major story. The only big difference from what we're used to seeing in this qualifying, John, in the 9, we've find Lawson Aschenbach instead of pole winner extraordinaire Matt Bell, because Lawson has to leave early to catch a flight to do another race tomorrow afternoon.
And as you were telling us that, Shea, the 33 rolls into its position. The Viper Exchange Gas Monkey Garage car, the white and green and black machine, as the Cruiser Monkey car has just pulled up to a halt exactly where it should be, but that was late on parade, and with already a couple of minutes gone, there's only 13 minutes left of this session. Can't afford to lose too much time. If there's a red flag now, they could be left with red faces and not get a qualifying lap put in. Now the 63 Ferrari championship leading car is out on the circuit. Qualifying not always been their forte, Jeremy, but they've been quick here this week.
Yeah, yes indeed, and you said not their 40. Christina Nielsen certainly has several good qualifying runs this season. They've been on the front row of the grid once, she's been on the second row twice, a fifth. Last time out she was 7th at VIR, which is not her best certainly, but yeah, the car was quick earlier on in the weekend. She's driving with pretty good confidence right now, so we'll see what she can put together in this Scuderia Corsa Ferrari. You can hear the turbocharger there chirruping under as it was
fabulous.
It's rather fun, isn't it?
It's not the same noise as the 458, which was a rather more edgy, sharp V8 scream. This one a little quieter because of the turbochargers and the exhausts, of course, but has that almost Group B rally car from the 1980s overboost chirrup, as Jeremy rightly says, on the downshift in particular, and a big pop on the upshift as well. Certainly has been a change of personality for the Ferrari. That GT Daytona GT3 car can be converted to GT Le Mans specification. It's not the work of a moment. It's not just bolting on a few panels and pretty much the engine has to change as a unit. But it is a car that can do double duty, or at least could be upgraded from a GT3 car to a GT Le Mans machine. It'll be about another minute and a half, 2 minutes before we see flying lap times, as everyone has gone out of the pit lane very carefully indeed, Jeremy. Mindful of the hot temperatures, they won't want to take too much out of their Continental tyres on the warm-up lap. Now, the problem with the 33 Shea Adam was not one of tactics. The car did indeed have an issue.
Yeah, they had an electrical issue as they were rolling out to the false grid. Realized it, fixed it, and got things sorted. But as Bill Riley just said, it's not the worst thing if you start at the back with a set of new tires. So look for maybe not the most stable qualifying effort from the number 33. That said, Bill Riley's organization never goes out and does anything halfway.
Fair point well made and nicely presented by Shea Adam. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, stand by your beds. Let's wait for the first laps to come in. The 33's gone pretty much straight out onto the track so as not to waste any more time. Haven't had a lap time yet, Jeremy, and we're nearly 5 minutes into this 15-minute session because of the outlap and then the flyer. That's going to be the sharp end of the 5 minutes. We starting to get cars coming around now to complete a flying lap.
Indeed, and
goes quickly.
Yeah, it does. It's going to be well over 2 minutes. The best lap times we're going to see in the GTD cars. 2:07.116 was the fastest lap that was set this morning in practice. That's well underneath the old track record for GTD. Also, they've got new specification of GT3
There's Alex
European
Rieberas.
spec cars from this year.
Yeah, and a much quicker car, as you rightly say. Alex Rieberas goes through at 2:09.077. which neither Andrew Davis, Christina Nielsen or Michael Marsell in respectively the 6 Audi, the 63 Ferrari or the 97 BMW, and indeed Brett Curtis has gone through. He's not there either, neither is John Potter. So Rieberas, not unsurprisingly, in fairness, is a very quick driver in a car that's perhaps suited to these greasy conditions, the Porsche 23.
Yeah, and he's had a couple of pole positions already this season. Rieberas actually has had 3 pole positions this season, hasn't he? But that first flying lap at 2:09.077, that's already 2 seconds underneath the old track record for the old spec GTD cars from from last year. Actually, it was a couple of years ago that the oh, a lie actually. The 2:08.5 was the outright GTD lap record. That was back in 2014. Last year's pole was a 2:11.0. And right now we've done a 2:09.0. I'm sure we'll go faster than that. We're unlikely to get down to the times we saw this morning because conditions were really good this morning. There was some cloud cover. It wasn't nearly as hot as it is right now. So I wouldn't expect anybody to get anywhere near the 2:07.1 that Alex Ribras turned this morning.
Comes one of the Stevenson cars across the line. And that is the blue version of the car. As it goes through now, that's being the number 9 car of Stevenson Motorsport, and goes into second place immediately. Just, well, still a second away though from that Porsche time, as Christina Nielsen pops back into third, Paolo Roberti into fourth in the 27 Lamborghini. He's got down to business pretty quickly, Paolo. Didn't expect to see him this weekend. He was a late addition.
Well, he was, because initially it was listed as Cedric Spirituale and Luca Persiani. Then Lawrence De George name cropped up, and now it's Paolo Roberti. So
only people whose names haven't been next to that is ours.
Yeah, I think so.
Ribas on another decent lap, and he's got down to a 2:08.856, Jeremy, and stretches his lead on provisional pole to 1.2 seconds. That's an age here, considering that the next 7 cars are within 0.6 of each other. Ribas has just absolutely demolished the rest of the field. That's extraordinary. 2:08.8, the next best, a 2:10 flat. And within the 2:10 margin, we're going to go all the way down to 8th position, and Brett Curtis is a 2:10.6, so 0.6 of a second for 7 cars, and the gap between first and the first of those 7 cars is 1.2 seconds.
Yeah, he's making everybody look very average here at the moment, isn't he? But you know, he's
oh, spin for the 80 car. Now, who's behind the wheel of that? It's not Mike Skeen, is it?
Dan Knox.
That's Dan Knox, of course it is, yes. Shea Adam, you told us to watch out for Alex. He's got a bit of history in a Porsche around here, hasn't he?
He does, and if you want to see something really cool, go look up the video of the entire race of the Super Cup round where Alex came home with the win here. I think it was 2015, where he got his first ever Super Cup win in the rain and pulled away from the competition. Now, that doesn't happen in the Porsche Super Cup Series. There's never such thing as a gap. Alex laid on those guys, so I'm not surprised to win in qualifying.
Shea Adam, our Continental Tyre pit lane reporter. Down to 5 minutes already. 2/3 of the time has gone. 2:08.566. But a fight back from Audi and from Stevenson. The number 9 car now within 0.3 of a second. That's more like it. Patrick Lindsay, 0.4 back. Oh, big slide by that number 80 car. That was coming. Now, where was that?
Out of turn 1, I think, is it?
It is coming out of turn 1, Jeremy. You're absolutely right. Yep, good call. That wall's a bit closer on the left than you think there, isn't it? If you get that tank slapper on.
Yeah, if you
Well, the barrier, should I say? It's not a wall.
No, Arco barrier, isn't it? We've seen a couple of cars collect that in the Continental Tyre Series as well for various reasons. There's Lawson Aschenbach. 2:08.9 then his best lap last time around. Didn't seem to be that much quicker on this lap. His teammate Andrew Davis, number 6 car, has turned a 2:09.9. A second away from Lawson Aschenbach and nearly, what 1.4 seconds slower than Alex Ribas. The track record then in GTD, a 2:08.502.
Top 6 are all Volkswagen Audi group cars then. Porsche, Audi, Porsche, Lamborghini, Audi, Lamborghini. All in the group. Christina Nielsen, the first non-VAG brand in that top 10. at 7 in the 63 Ferrari, but a second and a half away from the Alex Riberas time. That 5.2 V10 sounding awesome on overrun going into the first corner. Being revved down through the gearbox. This is a welcome run and a welcome discovery of pace, Jeremy, for Stevenson. They've been getting to grips with the Audi this year. It is their first year with the car. And I think, generally speaking, even they would realise and say that they haven't perhaps got the pace out the car they were expecting. By the way, Alex Riberas, not only fast, but really, really sensible driving and honourable driving there. Came through turn 1. He was obviously going to be touring back to the pits. Was aware there was 2 or 3 cars behind him. Went through turn 1 and literally parked the car as far out of the way as possible. He was almost off the track drivers left there. That is very, very fair driving from the man on pole position, provisionally at the moment by nearly 4/10 of a second. That's the 23 Porsche of Alex Riberas.
Yeah, 22-year-old Spaniard, really been, he's loving this season, his first full season racing in North America with Alex Job Racing in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. He absolutely loves the challenge of the tracks that we have in the United States and Canada.
He's plenty experienced though, Jeremy. It's not like he's just been dragged in from the street. A lot of experience in Europe.
Absolutely right. He does, and a very talented young guy as well. That's the youngest driver combination in the field. Riberas 22, Mario Farbacher just 24, so by age of 46, there's quite a few cars that have drivers older than that.
I knew where you were going with that immediately. Alex is a decent early start to his career. I remember in Europe, and then sort of the next couple of years went rather quiet, rediscovering his.
Well, yeah, he was a Porsche Junior driver, wasn't he?
Yes.
And dropped from that program, somewhat surprisingly, because he's a very personable young guy. He speaks well, he talks well, he looks good.
Still clearly knows how to drive a Porsche as well.
Absolutely right.
He's toured that car in so as not to take anything more out of the tyres, and he's never been in anybody's way at all. That is an absolutely quality piece of driving from Riberas. And again, he's going to park the car out the way to make sure that he leaves the access to the apex for the Lamborghini that was going by behind him. And he's going to do, probably 3.5, 4 minute lap on his way in. He's not doing any more from that car. There's 51 seconds left. But that, not just quick, as I say, honourable, sensible, and clearly a young man who might be young in age, but the experience there and the sensibility of someone who could do very well in this form of racing.
Patrick Lindsay out of number 73 car as well. Excellent job by Patrick too to get a 2:09.9. His best lap this weekend so far was a 2:08.3 set this morning in the practice session.
Patrick is having a pretty good season, I think. He's really found some form and some consistency, and
not been very lucky there, that team.
He's had no luck, actually. That's very fair, Jeremy. But
speed-wise, good. I agree.
The a couple of other Porsches rather decided to disappear rather loudly, make a fuss about moving away and not coming back to the championship. The 23 and the 73 cars have continued on.
73 car missed last weekend, didn't they?
Yes, they
but
did.
They're back here. The surprise for me in this session has to be, I think, the number 48 Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini managed to snow qualifying that car this afternoon. He was on the pole position at VIR, came away with the victory there as well. Really fine performance. Well, it really was a good performance, and that car showed good pace in the practice session. The best time was 5th fastest overall, 2:07.5. But managed to snow, not be able to get within 2.25 seconds of that in this qualifying session, down in the 6th position. That's a surprise.
Checkered flag is out. We have our first of 4 pole positions. It is Alex Riberas. He is about to get out of the 23 car, and waiting for him, not only the camera, but also our Continental Tire pit lane reporter, Shea Adam.
Not for the first time this year either, John. It's getting to be a bit of a familiar thing, seeing this blue 23 Heart of Racing car on pole position as Alex gets word from the team that it's official. He has yet another pole. Mario has a couple to his name as well, but for Alex, this has been a breakout year. The young man from Spain gives a big slap on the roof of the car. They're still in it points-wise, and Alex Riveras knows that this is the way to keep the championship hope alive. Mario comes over and gives him a big hug. Alex, you did it again, my friend. How do you keep pulling out these quick laps at circuits that, well, at least this one you've been to before?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the first time that we go to a track that I was like used to in the short races. So, I mean, we came here with a big hope of doing something good. I mean, we know the car is fast, and the Heart of Racing crew is doing such a good job to put it all together. And well, I mean, right now in terms of pace, I don't know exactly where we are. I wouldn't say we are the quickest, but we could be in the mix. And we know that in this 2-hour, 40-minute race here in Austin, anything can happen. So we're going for the win.
Well, we know that you're the quickest for qualifying because you get another pole to your name. Coming to a track that you know, you don't have to learn it again. What sort of advantage was that for you this week?
Well, definitely, not only the fact that I knew the track already, it also meant a lot to me because I won here with the Super Cup. So I kind of stepped here, and it was quite a critical situation for me to move over here to the States. So let's say I did some of the biggest work to come here in that race, and to come here again, it feels amazing. So definitely feeling confident to do another win tomorrow.
Sports car racing is clearly your future now. Hoping to stay in the U.S.?
Yeah, I mean, I really love the U.S. I feel comfortable with the people, with the cars, with the races, with the fans. I mean, everything is fantastic, so why not?
Congrats, Alex.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, very personable young man, as you said. Oliver Hilger there, the venerable Porsche PR man, standing in the background, about to get the interview. Photographs before, just checking to see if any track limits had I didn't see anybody getting warned for times off a track limit, so it would seem that everyone behaved themselves there, and certainly that is a confirmed pole position as it stands at the moment by nearly 0.4 of a second, and then another 0.4 back from the Stevenson Audi to the 73 Park Place.
No.
Sorry, no.
Less than a tenth of a second.
Less than a tenth of a second, yes, my apologies. Back to Patrick Lindsay. So the top three within half a second, then a big gap, 7/10. But then another clump of cars, Jeremy, very, very close indeed. 4 cars within a tenth or a tenth and a half.
Yeah, absolutely right. And like I say, the surprises for me, particularly the Madison Snow car, number 48, I would have expected that to be much closer to the front. Christina Nielsen, that's a good effort, I think, for her for Scuderia Corsa, that Ferrari 488 GT3. Paolo Ruberti, he's a pretty experienced driver, but has to make do with 7th for Dream Racing Motorsports, another Lamborghinis, just ahead of Corey Lewis. And again, I think I would have expected Corey Lewis to be a little bit farther up the order as well. 2 minutes 10.1 for that Change Racing Lamborghini car number 16.
So our first of 4 pole sitters is Alex Riveras for the 23 car. Decent run for our championship leaders in 5th position. They can work with that, Jeremy, the 63 car.
Yeah, absolutely right. And just look at the times that Corey Lewis had done earlier in the weekend. It did a 2:08.1. When was that? 2:08 flat, actually. That was again this morning. That was certainly the fastest the track has been. But he's lost more than 2 seconds. Not within 2 seconds of that this afternoon. I would expect him to be not that far away, not as much as that away from where he was this morning. Maybe a second or so. Alex Riveras, a 2:08.5 there. What's that? A second and a half slower than he went this morning. So, track conditions, it is really hot out there. It is pretty greasy. We've had probably some debris out on the track from the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge race in terms of rubber debris and just a clag, as David Hobbs would say.
Clag.
And So, yeah, certainly the track isn't in great shape now in terms of fast lap times.
GTLM comes up next. Are we going to bet against... Well, it was the mid-engine turbocharged cars earlier on today with the Fords and the Ferraris doing their bit. BMW, well, they've not been able to get both cars near the top in any of the sessions. It's been one or the other. Corvette was sitting in 8th and 9th. Don't worry if you're a Corvette fan. In that final practice session early on today. But we've seen Corvette bounce back from positions like that. If it's one of those days where it's a greasy surface, you'd probably lean a little bit towards the Porsches. Always a decent... Well, those cars always seem to hook themselves up and get a decent run.
They do, don't they? And the Risi Competizione Ferrari, of course, just a couple of hours from home, from Houston. Giuseppe Risi is
off
here
the
to
truck this
oversee
week.
that. Yeah, it has. It's been up in the top 2 or 3 in most of the sessions and was fastest this morning. Tony Vielander at the wheel of the car during this 3rd practice session. A 2:03.3 was his best time. The fastest time yesterday, in kind of similar conditions to these, was the number 67 Ford of Richard Westbrook at 2:04.1.
Where would your money go, Jeremy? GTLM. I'll tell you what, I bet there's barely a second between the whole field, even around here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It's awfully difficult, isn't it? It's generally I'll go for a name. Let's go for his.
Shea Adam has the qualifying drivers.
I do, John. In our 2 Ford GTs, the number 67 will be none other than Ryan Briscoe. He has an opportunity to be another one of our first-time pole sitters this year. And in terms of the series, since the merger happened, we've had 20 different pole sitters. Dirk Mueller, the most recent of our new pole sitters, will be trying to qualify the number 66 on pole. The number 62 is none other than Tony Vielander behind the wheel of the Risi Competizione Ferrari. In our BMWs, we find John Edwards in the number 100. He has a pole to his name. Dirk Werner will be in the number 25, and he also has a couple of poles over the course of the series. In the number 4, it will be Oliver Gavin trying to get another pole for himself. He started out the whole thing with a pole at Daytona this year. And then we find Jan Magnussen, our most recent pole winner in terms of VIR. Patrick Pile is in the number 911. And of course, he was a pole sitter here last year in competition, his first real pole because he hadn't won before that got taken away. And in the 912, Fred Makovecki, the man who has quite a good record at COTA, 1 win and 2 seconds in terms of World Endurance Championship competition.
Thank you, Shea. So, yeah, GTLM cars coming out.
I don't think Ollie has actually a pole position this year, but he's had a couple of poles in the past, and yeah, both Tony Vielander and Ryan Briscoe, yeah, they would be. There's only I think 4 drivers in the field here in GTLM who don't yet have a pole in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. Fred Makovecki, Lucas Luhr, funnily enough, Ryan Briscoe, Tony Vielander, and Tommy Milner. Everybody else has at least 1 pole.
Joey Hand hasn't had one in class, although he's had one in a prototype, of course.
Yep.
The cars just having their last bits of fettling. Drivers of this calibre, you don't tell them anything other than go out and get me pole, please. That's all that they need to know. Waiting for the lights to go green at the end of the pit lane. Everybody on Michelin tyres here. I should ask this question. I don't think GTLM is a Michelin class, though. I think it is still an open tyre formula.
I believe so, yeah. I'm sure it is.
We lost Falcon, of course, which took away the opportunity for a tyre war. But Dunlop, all of a sudden, have popped back up in the FIA World Endurance Championship with Aston Martin, building a tyre for them. Now, this is unusual. Both BMWs going out right at the green light. Shea Adam, can you shed some light on this? This is not what we normally see from Rahal Letterman Lanigan.
It's very atypical behavior from them. Maybe they're hoping that with the hotter conditions, only expected to get hotter, the lap times will come early on in this session. That's the only thing I can expect. Both Porsches are still sitting on pit lane. As soon as I say that, Patrick Pilet makes a liar out of me and heads for the racetrack. And one of the Corvettes, that is the number 4 with Ollie Gavin. He hasn't yet left, and the Corvettes are normally the first out. So again, very atypical behavior here on this Texas day.
Share. Out goes that 911, heading up the hill now. So, now we get a bit of excitement of the cars firing up and setting off onto the circuit. Oh, that 911 sounds great. Gonna miss that noise. Yet to find out what next year's car will look, sound, and how its balance will be. Smart money on a turbocharged engine to go with the marketing of the 3-litre turbos as the main engine for 911s. But I'm not sure that that decision has been completely made yet. And we haven't seen the back of the cars to see if the turbo or the area around the back of the car is a bit more cooling in them. Certainly Porsche wanting to move the engine forward a little bit, maybe swap it with the gearbox. The gearbox behind the flat 6. I'm presuming it will be a flat 6. I can't imagine it being anything else.
It's a Porsche. Do they make anything other than flat 6s?
Very nice V8. Very nice V8.
Oh, yes.
And Goodwin and I, actually, dailysportscar.com editor Graham Goodwin and I, just talking about the potential of a 928 replacement for Porsche using a shortened Panamera chassis with a 2-door coupe body. You don't have to squint very much to look at a Panamera and think if you took out the rear doors, that rounded rear end, big V8 up the front, it's a 928 for the new century, that is, and it would sell like hotcakes. TM copyright hang-off. 4 cylinders, of course, in the new 718 Boxster and Caymans, getting great write-ups around the world, following in the footsteps of the 918 hybrid, with their 4-cylinder turbocharged engines. For the moment, it is a flat 6 in the 912. Shit, Adam, are you a little concerned about that 912 going out on the circuit there?
I am. When it fired up and left the pit lane, it did not sound perfectly healthy. Maybe like it wasn't running on all cylinders, but I'm going to keep an eye on the team and see how they react. No one is up on the wall as if Fred will be coming back in, but when it first started out there, it did not sound good.
Thank you, Shea. Singing away through turn 16, 17 and 18, that long 180-degree right-hander in the last third of the track already through 19 and coming into the left-hander at 20 then for the Porsche number 912. Fred Makovecki, have a listen to this 6-cylinder. And sounded pretty clean that time through. 62 Ferrari, waiting for their lap times to come in. 10.5 minutes to go. It's going to be Kevin Magnussen who'll nick the pole position to start with. Jan Magnussen who goes through, wishing Kevin's career away there. Through goes Jan in a 207. Check that, 206.5. Tony Vielander goes through, 206.5, 206.1 for Edwards. Werner in the BMW, so both the BMWs quick, 205.5 and 206.1. Vielander with a 207.1. Dirk Müller for the 66 Ford, 206.3. All right, guys are just getting themselves dialed in at the moment. At IMSA Radio, by the way, on Twitter. Oh, loving it. Patrick Pile to the top of the timing screens, 2:04.937. You're not hanging about here, Jeremy. Getting down to work quickly. I do think they're worried about the amount of work they're going to put into these Michelin tyres. Wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of laps then in the pit lane. Drivers have got to be honest with their pit when they say, do you think you can do better? Do you need one more? They've got to know whether they can wring out a couple of extra tenths, because that could make a big difference in your starting position here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close. Certainly, great lap there by Patrick Pile, 2:04.937. That's the fastest of the session so far by a good half a second over Dirk Werner.
Into the braking area for the wonderful first corner for the 912 Fred Van Vecchi. Ollie Gavin is in 6th in 7th now in the number 4 Corvette. Muller for Ford in 6th. Briscoe for Ford in 5th, as Tony Vilander in the 62 Risi Competizione Ferrari. A couple of hours down the road to Houston is their home base, and being supported by Ferrari of Houston for quite some time. Giuseppe Risi's concerned, hammering the curbs, but staying away from those very, very damaging yellow pyramids that are on the apeces of some of the corners through the S's. Sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
Watch out for Ryan Briscoe. He's on a fantastically fast lap. He's a whole half a second quicker than anybody through the first sector, fractionally quicker than Patrick Pile, who had set the best time through sector 2. So Ryan Briscoe, here he is in that corner with 67 coming out of the last corner. Yes, indeed. 7th he is at the moment. He's not going to be 7th as he crosses the line. 2:06.2 is his time. He needs a 2:04.8 or better. How about 2:04.1? Hello, Ryan Briscoe calling, and nearly 7 tenths of an advantage. The 67 Ford, we've seen it win on strategy and on fuel mileage this year. Is this going to be a weekend where they need to unleash all the power of the Ford EcoBoost engine that sits in behind Ryan Briscoe in the 67? I reckon that's going to be tough to beat. That was a really great lap, I think, from Ryan Briscoe. Purple in all 3 sectors, faster than anybody in all 3. And like I say, a massive margin in the first sector. Patrick Pile gets within about 3 tenths on this next lap he's on right now. But those are the only 2 guys to get below 45 seconds in that first sector. And it's a 44.5 by Ryan Briscoe. Wow.
And he's done a 44.6 next time around. Tony Vilander might improve. He might trim that 7 tenths a little bit. He's on a decent lap here, but he's going to have a stonking 3rd sector.
Yeah, he's 4 tenths down on the first sector.
Oh, and he does. He goes fastest in the 3rd sector, and he does trim a couple of tenths from Ryan Briscoe's lead, but he's got to get this first sector. He's in it now. Is this the lap for Vilander? Rides the curbs at 2, sets the car up for 3. The left-hander, don't take too much of the curb in turn 4 because there's one of those big pyramids there. Then you've got to sort of turn into 5, let it breathe. At 6, you go in and out to avoid the pyramid. 7, lump, yes. 7, and then 8, you're all 4 wheels on the curb. 9 on the inside, another one of those lump. Don't go too far to the right on the exit of 9, that will get pulled. 10's a tricky one over the brow. Right down into the curbing for turn 11. It's super late braking. Do not take too much of the apex coming off that. Then you're on the back straight. Get your Kindle out, read a book. Chapter at least. 5 minutes to go. 2:04, 2:08 for Ryan Briscoe. He has the 2 fastest laps of the session, and they're both 4 tenths or better ahead of the opposition now. 44.7 in the first sector for Tony Vilander. That is his best sector time, but Ryan Briscoe's just taken his best overall 3rd sector away by half a tenth. So Vilander's got to be super clean. Traffic's not an issue here, and it's great. Everybody's got a bit of circuit to themselves. So we're really seeing these cars going probably as quick as they're going to go this weekend. Low fuel, new tyres, and drivers who are really motivated.
Well, they were a little bit quicker this morning because the track conditions were better, certainly cooler, but this is still going to be some pretty good laps here, and this is a great effort by Ryan Briscoe.
Wielander loses out in the middle sector. Don't think he's going to be good enough to take pole. Will he trim another 10th or 2 out of the lead? It's 0.5 of a second, half a second at the moment. He does, takes another couple of times. Wow, if he'd only had a decent middle sector, he would have been challenging. A 47.2 in the middle sector. That was not his best.
Right there.
Yeah, and that wasn't his best, Jeremy. He's done better than that. He's done a 47.1. Dirk Muller trying to improve for Ford. He's going to put a decent lap together here. He's gone up to 4th position with a 2:05.084. Ford 67, Ryan Briscoe. Ferrari 62, Tony Wielander. Patrick Pilet for Porsche coming to the end of his 5th lap. He's not going to improve here unless he's got an amazing 3rd sector and he's found a shortcut somewhere. But he's in 3rd position at the moment. His best time last time around, a 2:04.87. No, that was a slow lap from Pilet. A 2:09, so he was lifting off, maybe trying to find something in the tyres.
Dirk Muller improves the car to 66, a 2:05.0, but that's still 9/10 away from its teammate Ryan Briscoe.
Fred Makovecki begins another lap. Oh, now this is interesting. Makovecki with not a pole lap going here, but certainly something that could put him on a par with Patrick Pilet, his teammate in 3rd. Needs a good run through the 3rd sector though. 44.9, 47.0 for the first 2 sectors, 161 miles an hour through the speeds trap.
44.9, that's about 4/10 away from Briscoe's best. 47.0 in the middle sector is about 1/10 away from Briscoe.
Yeah, that's a very good middle sector.
That's still just a half a second. If you can put a really good 3rd sector together here, maybe we can get in the top 4 or 5.
And he does go into 4th position, just behind Patrick Pilet, his teammate, as we thought he might.
Yeah, by 0.0, not very much.
Yeah. Muller's right there as well. And we have 5 cars separated by 9/10 of a second and 7 cars by a second. If you want to be pedantic, it's 1.042 seconds between those top 7, but I'm saying a second, and it's a rounding error, isn't it?
It is indeed.
90 seconds left.
Not even a hiccup.
Not even a hiccup, no. 90 seconds left, and everybody is carrying on.
Yeah, that's unusual in itself. Normally we'll see them do 3 or 4 laps, 3 or 4 or 5 laps, something different. 6 is a longer lap, of course, but everybody stayed out there the entire session.
Shea, what's the tagline for Austin?
Keep Austin weird, and this qualifying session certainly has been.
Fair point, well made, yeah. Everybody going for this. Looks more like a prototype challenge session with everybody just sticking the tyres on and enough fuel to get to the end. Very uncharacteristic of the GT Le Mans cars. Would suggest to me that they've probably put a harder compound of Michelin tyres on here, Jeremy.
Yeah.
And that they're waiting for maybe lap 4 or 5 to possibly get the best out of them. Patrick Pilet's called it a day. He's in the pits. There'll be nothing better than a 3rd place for the 911. The 911, number 911. Ryan Briscoe still out there, still pushing.
That's
Corvette number 4 is in. That's Ollie Gavin, will be no better than 6th. He's only a second away from the pole time at the moment.
Yeah, Pilet was on the front row of the grid, 2nd at Road America in qualifying. He was 3rd at Long Beach in qualifying. That's the race they won. And of course, Nick Tandy qualified on the pole at Daytona. But this is a good run by the Porsche team here. 3rd and 4th, they'll be pretty happy with that, I think. Good middle sector there by Tony Wielander.
Yeah, he was really pushing. 44.7, 46.9.
Very close to the fastest sector of all in sector 2.
This is going to be an improvement, I think, for the 62. God, he's pitted. He's pitted.
Okay. He realised there wasn't enough there to beat Briscoe. That's why.
Okay, yeah. And he's solidly in 2nd position by over 1/10 of a second, which is enough with Pilet already in the pit lane.
So there's another new pole sitter then. The first pole for Ryan Briscoe in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship.
That's 21st
21,
different.
is it? That's amazing,
pole sitter. Shares that's 21.
leave the pole. I think this is our 29th round.
Yep.
And we have one driver with 4 poles. That's Nick Tandy, and then a couple others chasing him, including Richard Westbrook. So this car, the 67, has performed so far this year. It's Briscoe's first opportunity to really lay it down for a pole, though.
So the 21st different GT Le Mans pole sitter in 29 races since the merger of Grand Am and the ALMS, and it's Ryan Briscoe who has that honour.
Yeah, just the 4th time he's qualified the car this season. He qualified in Daytona way back in 10th place, was the second on the grid at Mazda Raceway. No, it wasn't, was it? Second on the grid at Mazda Raceway, Green second. That's the race that Ian and Richard Westbrook won, of course. And then his only other qualifying run this season, Road America, was way back in 7th on the grid.
Tony Vielander, oh, he pitted, of course, yes, Tony Vielander. Yeah. I just saw the light colour on the timing screen, but he's in the pits. And McAvecchi is still out there. Checkered flag is out, but he is off the pace in the middle, so he will not be improving. Ryan Briscoe, key of the door, 21. That is an extraordinary run of pole sitters in GTLM.
Yes, astonishing. And the best qualifying position also then for Tony Vielander and the Ferrari.
Yes, Pele in 3rd, top 3 separated by just under 7/10 of a second. And to go down to 7th position is still that 1.042 seconds. The whole field separated by a second and a half.
A second and a half, but a half a second of that is Ryan Briscoe ahead of everybody. Correct. The rest of them are all covered by a second.
So we weren't far away from making that prediction that the field would be separated by barely a second. Ryan Briscoe has half a second on the field. The rest of the field within a second. He's our 21st different pole sitter in GTLM. His helmet is off and he's ready to speak to Shea Adam.
Ryan, what a lap you laid down there. Wow, was that the first time that we've seen everything this car has? Was that the first time you really laid it all on the line?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've had a pretty good car all weekend, you know. We've really been pushing hard. We tested here last week and I think that's really helped us out a lot. It's really hot and slick out there at the moment, so it was difficult and the tyres came in very quickly, but yeah, really pleased with the whole team, Chip Ganassi Racing, Ford Performance. It's been a great working effort, and we're going to be pushing hard to try to finish the job today and the next one in Atlanta.
You're going to start the race on these Michelins that are coming off the car right now. You pushed a lot, and you did quite a few laps, I think 7 total. They still feel like they have life left in them?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've been doing pretty long runs. We're using the Michelin hard compound tyre, and it's very consistent. So hopefully, start the race and try to keep it up there, but it's going to be tough. The racing's always hard in this class, and we'll try to keep our nose clean and hand over to Richard for a good finish.
Good thing you've had a good finish here in the past, 2013 in ALMS, so I think maybe it's time to get another win.
That's right, I'm ready for it. Thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah, very good. And just the nod there that it is the harder of the compound Michelins, or the warmer compound, should we say, because Michelin talk about their operating temperatures rather than their compound and constructions. And I think that's probably what everyone's done there, Jeremy, which is why we saw guys out there for 6 and 7 laps. And interesting to hear, though, that Ryan said thought that the tyres came in slightly quicker than he thought. That was impressive because he was still going very quickly at the end there. I think he had the 3 best times out of that. 2:04.1, 2:04.2 and a 2:04.2 and a bit more. So that was pretty impressive.
Indeed so, and it was fastest overall times in sectors 1 and 2, and particularly in the sector 1. That was where he really made up most of his time. That's, of course, up through turn 1 and then through the S's.
Yes.
You just look at that car, it changes direction so well. It looks really, really well balanced, and through the S's, that's exactly what you want.
There's a little smile on my face when he said how greasy it was, because the car never looked out of shape.
No, it didn't really.
Tony Vielander, the car was moving around and he was dealing with it. Patrick Pele, Fred McAvecchi, certainly the BMWs and what we saw of the Chevy Corvettes. Very quiet afternoon for them in 6th position. And where was the 3 car? Did the 3 car not go out?
Yeah, it's 8th.
Oh, yes. Sorry, yes, didn't say that there.
For the pole sitter last time out.
Yes, exactly. And, you know, that's the beauty of GTLM and the difference in the characteristics of the cars. A car that is great at one track may not be as good the next time around, but all of the other cars seem to be moving around other than the particularly the 67 Ford. That did look absolutely glued to the track. Almost like the difference between your slot car when you've got the magnets in the back and when you haven't. The second of the Fords, by the way, Dirk Muller, 9/10 of a second away from his teammate. So it's Ford 67, Ferrari 62 on the front row of GTLM. The two Porsches having a better run than of late. Did get a slight tweak to their engine restrictors to give them a little change in the balance of performance. The 66
Don't think so.
Sorry, no, that was the GTD cars.
Yeah.
My apologies, Jeremy. Thank you for picking me up on that. The 66 and 4 GTLM cars, being the Ford and the Chevy Corvette, will be on row 3. Then it's BMW Chevy on row 4. And John Edwards in 9th position, qualified in 9th position in the number 100. Earlier on, Alex Riberas for the 23 Alex Job Racing Porsche captured the pole position for GT Daytona ahead of Stevenson's Audi number 9. And on the second row, it'll be Porsche and Audi, 73 Park Place, and the second of the Stevenson Audis, Andrew Davies, on qualifying duties there. PC cars up next.
Yes, this is. I was going to say it's the scratch that. Well, yeah, I mean, third and fourth for Porsche. That's the first time they've had both cars in the top 4 in qualifying for a little while. So I think they're going to be reasonably content. They were both in the top 4 at Road America, second and fourth on the grid there, and then going back from that, they were second and third on the grid at Long Beach, and first and second on the grid at Daytona for the Rolex 24. But certainly, they went through some doldrums in the middle of the summer, but coming back strongly now and getting much better grip on, literally, I think, on their tyres.
Darren Wicken, Ryan Ziegler and Slade Perrin all asking the same questions here, watching the IMSA TV feed around the world, looking at the prototype challenge cars with the American-style pit wall and the pit equipment in effectively the middle of a Formula 1 pit lane, and all seeing how do the WEC cars make that work. Can they drive down behind it? That concrete wall will be gone by the time the WEC cars go for their race on Saturday afternoon. It is a thing of beauty to watch the ballet of forklift trucks being pushed into action. And the concrete wall moved as a logistic challenge for the guys here at the Circuit of the Americas, but move it will be.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons there's a couple of hour break between the end of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship race and the time the pits are open for the WEC race later in the evening.
So next up it is the PC class. This is the prototype challenge. Winding down its time now in the IMSA series. One more year next year, although we have had the core team who've been a part of this since the very beginning have decided not to contest the rest of this year, Jeremy. They've already decided that their efforts that would have been in that class are going to go to a GT Daytona car. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. But they have been fantastic supporters of this class, since they started in sports car racing. So, but it is a shame that they're not contesting his final 2 races. They want to dilute their efforts for next season. That's a bit lame, to be honest. I mean, you commit to a season. I would have thought they should have finished it, but instead that John Bennett is racing his global rallycross car somewhere instead. So, oh, is he?
Yeah.
Ooh, it's a bit exciting as well. This is a spec series. These cars, here will be doing somewhere in the region of 160, 170 miles an hour, all on Continental tyres, all the same chassis, which in its day was pretty cutting edge, was an LMP1 chassis, properly designed racing car, carbon fibre, big V8 engine in the back that's been very, very reliable down through the years. Now with paddle shift, a bit of traction control and a new electronics package back end of last year, start of the season, and updates throughout its life have kept that car interesting. And Shea Adam has the drivers who'll be qualifying in PC.
Green flag has just come out, and the first one to go was Alex Popoff in the number 8 Starworks, closely followed by teammate Jose Gutierrez in the number 7. 38 Performance Tech is Nick Bouyer's first attempt at qualifying. James French, the normal guy, he's the old soul this weekend. The number 52, it's Robert Alon. Many poles already this year to his name. Can he do it again at another track that he has never been to? Number 85 is 24 Hours of Daytona winner, the JDC Miller Motorsports crew, Misha Goikberg behind the wheel of that one. The 88 is Mark Kwame. He has just left the pit lane. He is in the Starworks entry. Number 20 is young Matthew McMurray, driving this weekend with Bruno Junqueira instead of Johnny Mollum. In the number 26, I believe that was John Phelps' helmet exiting the pit lane. And those are your players in terms of going for the PC pole.
Thank you, Shea. Shea Adam down there in pit lane for us. Another pole sitter to be interviewed at the end of the next 15 minutes. Drew Austin said, you're talking about the new Porsche for 2017, their new GTLM GTE car. Do they have a deadline in which they must announce the car to participate in the full season? Yes, they do. The car's got to be homologated and then presented at the balance of performance trials, which at the end of this month, I believe, end of September in Europe. The FIA and the ACO oversee that. And both GTE and GT Le Mans, as it would be termed here, and GT3 cars go through a test to see where they are in the relative performance envelopes, performance boxes actually they're called. That is the term that's in the regulations for GT. I've got to be honest, I don't think there's any place for performance balancing in GTE. You build the car, you build it to the regulations, which are relatively tight technically, and you set it off and you go racing. And if you need to make changes, you build 250 or 500 road cars with wider arches or a bigger rear wing or a bigger engine or whatever it is that you have to do to homologate it, and then you rebuild your race car on that. GT3, something different altogether. And completely agree with CJ Wilson when he was talking to us on Midweek Motorsport that the balance of performance in GT3 and to a certain extent GT4 gives us the variety of cars that we got. We just wouldn't simply get that if you didn't have that, because they are built as customer cars. GTE, GT Le Mans cars built as factory races ostensibly, and then allowed to go into customer hands at a year old. Still a big debate about whether that will happen next year, and whether the AM class cars for Le Mans will be allowed to be the 16 spec cars. Certainly if that happens, there'll be no Porsches in it, because there is no 16 Porsche at the moment. There's a 15.5 car. So, and end of the month is the question, is the answer to that question about the Porsche being available. 11.5 minutes to go, Jeremy. Still waiting for the first times to come in. Jose Gutierrez looking strong in the first sector, but not as strong as the Robert Alon driven number 52. Robert's been a real character and a real find, hasn't he? Particularly likes his qualifying races pretty well as well, but my goodness, he's got to turn his speed over a lap or two.
Yeah, had a couple of poles this season. I mean, this is his first season racing at this level. He did a couple of years in the COTA IMSA Prototype Lights Championship powered by Mazda, and really was, he'd done nothing before. No karting, no Formula cars, nothing at all. And he really took to racing cars like a duck to water, and particularly with his PC cars under the guidance of Bobby Oracle and the guys at PR1 Maths and Motorsports, and particularly working alongside Tom Kimber-Smith. Huge amount of experience there from which to draw, and he's using every bit of that experience to great effect. And I would expect him to be very much a contender for this pole position this afternoon.
At IMSA Radio, if you want to get in touch with Jeremy or myself in the booth, that Gearbox Girl, Shea Adam, our Continental Tire Pit Lane reporter. Hello to everyone in the media centre here, having us pipe through them. Sorry for interrupting your afternoon.
He's started on the actually on the pole position 3 times, because one of the events at Lime Rock, Colin Brown qualified on pole, but then elected to start from the back. But he wasn't credited with the pole there, Robert Lon. The last pole he was officially credited with was back in Detroit, having won the pole also at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. So you know, he'd certainly like to get another feather in his cap, and that 3rd pole of the year officially.
Yeah, you said won the pole there. I think that's the key there. Although, in fairness, if somebody gets excluded because of something, then if they hadn't have been there in the first place, you had the fastest time.
Right,
so
but the car wasn't excluded. They just they didn't. The qualifying time is okay. There's nothing wrong with the car. It's just they elected to change drivers and put it to the back.
Of course they did. That's right. Yes. So
and then one of the other races also, Renger van der Zende.
That's fair dues.
Watkins Glen, in the long distance race, Renger van der Zende pipped him to the pole there.
Yes, that's right. Yes, exactly right. I think it's fair enough if someone has a technical infringement that you inherit the pole, then that's fine. You should get that against your name. But as you say, Colin Brown won the pole position and then elected to start from the back for tactical reasons. So it is Gutierrez then who lays down the first quick lap, 2:03.517. Then pop out in the 8 is 3.5 tenths further back, 44.2 in the first sector, not bad. Oh, hang on, 43.9 for Robert Alon in that first sector for the 52. Surely he's going to bounce to the top here as Gutierrez goes down to a 2:02.6. Where's Alon? He should be coming across the line any time now. Could be very close between Alon and Gutierrez. Here comes the 52 car to cross the line now. I'm waiting for the screen to update. Goes to second, and it's 0.047. I didn't quite expect it to be that close, if I'm honest, but that is very tight indeed at the top. Now again, these cars with the Continental tyres, they'll have enough fuel to do the full 15 minutes. Expect these cars just to stay out there. Alon has the best first and third sector, just by a tenth and a half. The middle sector at the moment belonging to Gutierrez, but there goes Matt McMurray in the number 20 bar 1 car, and he's now in a 2:02.6. We've got 3 cars in a tenth of a second. Matt McMurray then hitting form for Brian Alder's team. 2:02.6.
It was that middle sector that cost Robert Lon on that last lap, but purple there for Matt McMurray in the final sector here too. So it's a question now just putting a complete lap together. Much quicker again there for Robert Lon in sector 1.
So he has the sector 1 best time. Gutierrez has the middle sector best time, and sector 3 is Matt McMurray at the moment. So the top 3 all having different strengths around the circuit. I mean, we're talking fractions here, but that's nice to see. It means people have got something to aim for. And now Alex Popau takes that very important centre section. That's the rhythm part of the circuit. That's the drum and bass part of the circuit, the rhythm section. First sector. Second sector is a little bit of wiggly stuff, but mainly down the tubes. And the third sector is the bit right at the end. Mechanical grip more required there, certainly for part of it. Through goes Alex Popau and converts that fastest middle sector into a new fastest lap, 2:02.274. 4 cars within half a second, in fact 4/10 of a second. Gap between first and second, 0.045. As Robert Alon now comes within 0.086 of the leader, but is in third position. 3 cars within a tenth.
That is super close, isn't it? Once again, it's that middle sector that Robert Alon, he's cost him 2.5 tenths of a second to Alex Popau. He was a little bit quicker in sector 3. He was a little bit quicker in sector 1, but again, it's that middle sector, getting off the corner at the top of the hill there, turn 11, down that back straight and into turn 12, just losing a little bit of time there.
Suggests maybe they're running a little bit more wing.
Yeah, well, maybe, yes.
And just losing out on the top speed. To see his top speed the next time around, yeah, he's 160. Well, he's there or thereabouts. 164.1 through the trap last time around. 164.9 for Matt McMurray. That's just before the braking area on that long back straight down towards turn number 12. 64.1 for Alex Popau that time. So they're all around the 164 to 165 area. Matt McMurray, the quickest at the moment down there. So Popper with a 2:02.274 has 0.031 of a second, 0.031 of a second on McMurray and 0.045 of a second on Gutierrez.
And 0.086 on Robert Alon.
So top four within less than a tenth of a second.
That is amazing. That really is amazing. And a great lap, a great first sector again for Robert Alon. He's already been fast through there. He's now found another, well, 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, that's big improvement there.
It is.
46.4 in the middle sector. That's competitive for Robert Alon, and it's his fastest run through there. Still not as quick as the very quickest, but he's certainly found some time as Gutierrez bounces to the top of the 2:02, 2:71.003 of a second ahead of Popper, who's 0.03 of a second ahead of McMurray. Now, this is really interesting. Robert Alon with a chance here to go to the top. We are literally talking not even tenths now. It's quite extraordinary. Oh, Alon goes through and blows it wide open. 0.4 of a second. 2:01.847. The first driver into the 121 second bracket. 2:01.847 as off has gone the 8th position car. And that is the 88. All the 8s for that one. Gone straight on at the turn 15, I think that was.
Mark Kawami then of car number 88.
My goodness. Alon putting together a very... Wasn't even his best third sector, Jeremy. Best first sector.
No, by about a tenth of a second.
Yeah.
But in the middle sector, he found, compared to his previous lap, 2.5 of a second.
Yes, that was a much better middle sector for him.
Plus that blinding first sector as well.
McMurray can't improve. Gutierrez does, though. Not by much. Red flag is out. 3 minutes to go. That'll be it. Chalk up another pole position to Robert Alon. A shame. We were just getting into the shaving of tenths and thousandths away, but take nothing away from Robert Alon. And let's think about Gutierrez, Popper, McMurray, who all contributed there to a fabulous qualifying session that sees the top 4 cars within 4.5 tenths. And I have a sneaking suspicion it would have been closer than that had we continued for the last 3 minutes.
Yeah, brilliant effort on that last lap by Robert Alon. He put it all together, gets the pole position. Jose Gutierrez, the youngster from Monterrey, Mexico. That's a fine effort too for the Starworks team. Just pips his teammate Alex Popper by 0.003.
Yeah, and I know exactly where I lost that.
Yeah. Took one more breath.
Yeah. Dear me. 0.003 of a second between the front row and the second row.
Yeah.
0.458 of a second between the top 4, with Matt McMurray doing a very good job indeed for Brian Alder's Bar 1 team.
And hats off to Texas's Nick Boulay there. 5th fastest in his first ever qualifying session, these guys. It's also the first time that Jose Gutierrez has qualified his number 7 car. He's had, what, 3 previous starts this season.
Yeah, Nick Boulay and Misha Goldberg both putting their quickest laps in just before the red flag came out, so they will be allowed to stand. Yeah.
No, I lie. Gutierrez qualified at Lime Rock and Road America, but 4th and 9th there are on the front row here for the first time.
Yeah, it was indeed turn 15 that Kavame went off, just understeered after through the braking area from the first part of 15 and couldn't hold the car to the left enough and locked up, understeered off into one of the few parts of the circuit that actually has a gravel trap
that's
here.
true.
But it did stop him hitting the wall there, so I don't think there'll be any damage to that 88 Starworks car there, Jeremy. Just perhaps a slightly bruised ego for Mark Kavame, who's being pulled out backwards by the safety truck at the moment. Robert Alon then will take another pole position. Is that his 3rd of the season, Jeremy?
That's his 3rd of the season, yes, indeed.
Just taking his time to gather himself, take off the helmet. Earlier on, we had Ryan Briscoe with an astonishing lap for the 67 Ford to take GTLM pole. Ahead of Patrick Pele and Fred McAvicki and Tony Wieland are all pretty close behind in 3rd, 4th and 2nd. I've read those the wrong way around, so make that up yourself. The GT Daytona pole belongs to the 23 Alex Job Racing Porsche, Alex Rieberas. ahead of Audi of Stevenson, and then Park Place Porsche. They're the second Stevenson Audi. They're looking good. Championship leader Christina Nielsen in 5th position inside of the 5th row. Let's head down to hear from Robert Alon. Shea is on the scene as ever. Helmet is now off. Robert's gathered himself and his thoughts, and we can hear from him now.
Robert, 3 poles on the air. I know you feel like it should be more given certain qualifying sessions, but man, you keep coming to these tracks that are new to you and pulling out fast laps. Was that one absolutely perfect, or do you have more in the car?
I definitely made a couple mistakes, but yeah, it was pretty good lap.
You've got a lot of competition this weekend, a couple extra PC cars out there, but you just get to focus forward. What's your plan for the start of tomorrow's race?
Well, you know, just keep it clean and put down some good laps and give it to Tom in a good spot.
I wish people at home could see your dad and how emotional he is. It's got to mean a lot that he comes to every race.
Yeah, he loves it here, and he's my biggest supporter.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Shea Adam with Robert Alon really put it together, found that time in the middle sector, which basically won him that pole position there.
Indeed, and with 2 races remaining in the season for PC, Robert Alon and Tom Kimber-Smith, they trail Alex Popow and Renger van der Zende by 7 points.
And that's a point back today then.
No, there's no point for the pole, unfortunately, but it's certainly, you know, he will start a couple of positions ahead.
Okay.
And if they were to finish in these positions, then that would be a 5-point gain.
Man, so that is really important
really
for those
tight
guys. Yeah, absolutely. Heading to Petit Le Mans and the longer race after this one.
Number 52 car has been the quickest car all weekend here, pretty much, for PR and Matheson Motorsports. Well, the first couple of seconds at least. This morning, maybe. No, he was quicker again this morning, wasn't he? Tom Kimber-Smith. He laid down a 2 minutes .2 this morning. A couple of 3/10 quicker than Renger van der Zende could manage.
So 3 of the 4 pole positions have been decided. Now we'll find out who'll start the race on pole. Unless we have a torrential downpour, it should be in the next 20 minutes or so from the next 15-minute session.
I don't count out anything after what happened yesterday.
Raining from a clear blue sky yesterday at about this time, actually, maybe a little bit later than this. You've just made me glance over to the grey wall of the building opposite just to see if there is anything coming down. It was an extraordinary thing yesterday with rain tipping it down at 45 degrees outside, and the weather was exactly like it is now, which is bright blue sky and sunshine. IMSA Radio and TV synced up together from trackside here at the Circuit of the Americas. Thank you very much indeed for your time this Friday, whether you're here at the track or around the world. It does seem that we've started something with people working at home on a Friday back in Europe, particularly when we've got a Friday Continental Tyres race, as we did earlier on today. Productivity in Europe, I think, took a bit of a dive in the late afternoon today. Shea Adam has been patrolling the pit lane and has our prototype qualifying drivers.
Let's go in numerical order for a change, Don. I just feel like being different. In the 0, the Delta Wing will be Sean Rahal, because he hasn't been busy enough today, hasn't had enough seat time. Sean, who is a glutton for punishment and loves to drive anything with 4 wheels. In the number 5, we find defending prototype championship winner and current points leader, Christian Fittipaldi. He will be driving the Action Express Beast. In the number 10, it is none other than Ricky Taylor, another one of those guys who really just hasn't had enough to do this weekend, driving the 50 Larber competition Corvette. Clearly, you know, not keeping him happy. He wants to get back in his number 10, Wayne Taylor Racing DP. Then we go to the number 31, the car that is second in the championship, chasing its teammate. It will be Eric Curran qualifying in that one. They're only 1 point back, and although there are no points for qualifying, you always want to start ahead of your teammates and at least get into the mentality of that. Number 55 is drummer extraordinaire Tristan Nunez. He's already got a couple of poles to his name on this season. He's looking to keep the streak of Mazda poles alive. They got 3 in a row, Jonathan Bomarito getting 1 at Road America. It's Tristan's turn again, or so he tells me. Number 60, the Michael Schenk Racing car with a slightly special livery this weekend, will be driven by John Pugh. Then we find the number 70, the car that set the quickest lap time during our third practice this morning. Joel Miller, who set that fast time, will be qualifying the car. And finally, in the number 90, the Visit Florida Racing, we find the Goose. The Goose is on the loose. Mark Goosens, who has a second place finish here in the GT Le Mans class, is looking for his first pole of the year. So we have to keep an eye on that new paint job of the 90. See if maybe that bit of purple shimmer to the car is the trick to getting a pole.
Shea Adam, our Continental Tire pit lane reporter, down on the pit straight at the moment as we wait for the P-Tech, the P cars to roll out. Good afternoon, good evening to you, early evening I suppose it is now, to everyone who's made it out here to the track. Still plenty of action to come. We've got another race this afternoon, particularly saying hello to Steve and Jill, who bumped into once again at the Audi South Austin dealer event on Wednesday night. Porsche's on track as late as 7:15 this evening through till 8 o'clock. That is proper evening. Do we have to wear a dicky bow for that, Jeremy?
I think we probably should. I think it probably might need headlights as well, actually.
Might not be too far from the truth there. At IMSA Radio.
It's rather impinging on our cocktail hour, doesn't it?
Well, yes, indeed. Well, unless we can get surely someone from Tequila Patron should be listening and find us on the 3rd floor. Hello, Jonathan Frank, who is listening into us, says, going to miss Johnny Molam driving the PC. Johnny will be back at Petit Le Mans. Had a clashing commitment here and couldn't drive this weekend. That will be his final international race in the IMSA series, bringing to an end a long 18, 19-year career over here in the US. Slow Pass is listening to Quali on the IMSA app on his drive down here at the moment. We'll see you here tomorrow at Slow Pass, and a good use of your data as you're coming down. And Gene Levelis is asking again about the IMSA pit wall. Long push if you have to go to the garage in the wet roads. That wall will disappear. It's worth being here to watch that tomorrow, actually, because it is a thing of beauty to see how the logistics team managed to take that out. So, Jeremy, what do you reckon for the prototype qualifying?
Well, I would say I think the Mazda guys got a pretty good chance once again. But you never count out. It presumably would be Christian Fittipaldi qualifying number 5 car, it generally is. And Eric Curran's not quite got the pace of Dane Cameron, so I don't think the number 31 car is likely to challenge for the pole position. John Pugh will be in the number 60 car, and he's not right up there with the Aussie Negri in terms of pace. So I would suggest that it would be between Christian Fittipaldi and the 2 Mazda drivers.
Thank you to Jonathan Frank for the Twitter about Johnny Molam, but he's also managed to find his way up to the booth and brought us some goodies. So thank you, Jonathan, for that and for your continued support. We're going to miss the Delta Wing as well, of course, Jeremy. That car leaves the IMSA competition next year, going to a different formula. The DPs, they're on their last couple of runs as well. All change in 2017. This class will look very different, with prototypes from the more European side of things, with the LMP2 chassis manufacturers, the 4 manufacturers being the only 4 chassis manufacturers allowed for the moment, at least in IMSA, although bodywork will be free to a manufacturer, an auto manufacturer that wants to provide an engine, but you can't do bodywork without an engine, and can't do engine without a bodywork.
What?
Everyone else...
Why make it so complicated?
Everyone else has to use the Gibson engine.
Tell me again, what was wrong with P2 as it was?
Don't get me started, Jeremy. The variety of chassis in P2 that we potentially would have had if we'd just gone to P2 next year would have been probably 7 or 8 manufacturers. And it would have been great. But it's not going to be quite like that. 4 different manufacturers next year. But that's 2 races and a heck of a lot of testing away before we head to Daytona in 2017 to start the season. The row before, of course, is the first open test, but there will be a test in November as well. A lot of new cars coming. Heard today about the NSX from Honda, B badges an Infinity, excuse me, it's an Infinity, it's an Acura over here. Michael Shank Racing announcing their move to GTD. Oh, actually, they didn't say they were moving to GTD, they said they were taking on a GTD program, so the 60 car, as it stands, could be grandfathered in next year. It won't be very competitive, but there's potentially of an opportunity for something else if Honda were to pop up with a DPI, which is the name for the rebodied LMP2s for next year. So the cars head off with the final 15 minutes of qualifying time on the clock. I just realised I haven't had my lunch. Oddly. Why it came to me at that moment, I have no idea. Thank goodness I had the bowl of porridge this morning at 6:30. So they roll out for the last 15 minutes of qualifying for the penultimate round of the 2016 IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. Sunshine, a little bit of fluffy clouds, looks fantastic. Wayne Taylor Racing Corvette out at the turn 11, heading on the back straight already. Mazda will have a go here, surely, with the 55 and the 70. Trying to capture pole position again and start with the Soul Red front row. 2-litre turbocharged MZRR engine buzzing away behind the two drivers. Unmistakable V8 rumble of the 31 Action Express car. Never count those guys out. They have, as usual, taken the cars off the truck and been immediately quick. Again, down to 13 minutes before we've got a car coming through to start the fast lap. See who goes across the line first. Pick up the cars as they continue their laps. Be the 55 car, actually. Oh no, that rumble was certainly not a Mazda. That sounded like a Wayne Taylor Racing car. Yes, it was indeed. And Ricky Taylor then goes through to start his flying lap first. He's got clear track ahead of him. Should be no traffic issues here through turn 1, then dives down the hill. And that very distinctive dark flat grey, almost black colour through the 3, 4, 5 early part of the SS. Then you get a slight breather before 6, 7, 8 and 9. Very slight indeed though. And it's the 55 Mazda of Tristan Nunez. He's on a quick one now as well, as he, or he's about to be, as he comes round the final corner. So Nunez shifting up with his right hand on the paddles of the 55 Mazda. How late does he brake? Answer, insanely late on the brakes going into turn 1. The aero helping you, the gradient helping you, getting pushed down into... Gravity's a big help at that point, isn't it, really, when you're going up there at 170 lots mile an hour. You can stand on the brake pedal.
The problem is that when you get off the brakes and turn into the corner, it flattens right out at the top of the hill there, and then plunges down again. So it certainly makes hitting the apex not as easy as you might imagine.
Ricky Taylor fast. Tristan Nunez very quick in the final sector. Ricky Taylor quick in the first sector. Let's see what Ricky's second sector is like as he's coming to the end of that now. Yeah, he's good. Tristan Nunez, though, is quicker in the first sector, so Ricky will go to the head of the times first of all by dint of being the first man across the line. Here he comes from our right to left, comes out in the final corner now. We pick him up past the edge of the building now, and he crosses the line a couple of seconds after that. It's the finish line is way down the start-finish straight here, and Ricky Taylor posted 2 minutes, 0.127 with the fastest middle sector, but Tristan Nunez will beat that time as he comes through. This time I'm fairly certain. Eric Curran's putting a decent lap in as well. He's fast in the first sector.
Yeah, fastest of all in the first section. And the fastest time of the weekend so far was a 58.033 this morning in those really relatively cooler conditions this morning. Yesterday afternoon, the fastest time was a 58.1 by Dane Cameron. Dane is not qualifying the car this afternoon. The fastest lap by anybody else was Jordan Taylor at a 58.7.
70 Mazda goes into second for Joel Miller, 2 minutes, .283, so a tenth and a half away. But there's Nunez going through as predicted, 1:59.051. He takes sectors 2 and 3. Ricky Taylor at the moment the quickest in the first sector and goes quicker again, a 42.6 in that first sector for Taylor. This is going to be a dogfight. I've got a feeling these guys have put the harder compounds on, or the hotter compounds on these tyres as well, as Eric Curran in the 31 car comes through to get his first flying lap time recorded. Across the line now, and the 31 wheeling car goes to second by 0.8 of a second, but second it is, and there's only 2 cars under 2 minutes, and that's Tristan Nunez in the 55 and Eric Curran in the 31, the red and white Action Express car. Impressive run by Eric Curran there. Waiting for the number 5, the team car, only one of the top cars. Christian Fittipaldi has not yet put the time in. Here he comes now. There's only 8.5 minutes to go. Through goes the 5.
Ricky Taylor was quickest of anybody through the first sector, but lost time in the middle sector on this lap. As he crossed the line, he was second still at 1:59.6.
It is a better time for him, Jeremy, but it doesn't improve his position. But he's taken 3/10 out of the gap between himself and Tristan Nunez. Christian Fittipaldi was out of the pits late, and that was in fact the start of his first flying lap as he rumbled through past us in the 5 Action Express car. Here comes the number 60. Car porpoising around a little bit, as is the 70. Joel Miller, though, effective in that because he's gone back to second position. And it is a Mazda, Soul Red 1-2 at the moment. 0.2 of a second between them. Ricky Taylor, though, refuses to lose. Another quick first sector time. Tristan Nunez pulls it out to 5/10 again, 1:58.7, with a very quick third sector, 30.4. But he's lost 2/10 to Mark Goosens. Check that to Ricky Taylor in that first sector. He's going to find a second and more now, though. Eric Curran now. That's his best lap, and he goes under 2 minutes again. 1:59.4. Top 3, just under 7/10 of a second. Then about the same again with Ricky Taylor in 4th, Jeremy.
Yeah, the car we haven't seen, though, is Christian Fittipaldi, have we? Okay.
He came out late. He's just coming to the end of his first fly now.
Yep.
I mistakenly thought he'd gone out with everybody else. He had a very good warming up lap, if you see what I mean, or out lap. He'll be coming across the line anytime soon. At number 5, the lighter colour of the two. In fact, here he is now across the line and goes into 6th position. Would have been 5th, but for Sean Rahal, who has pulled a 2 minutes .030 out of the Delta wing. But to the top, Ricky Taylor with 2 quick sectors. You said he'd lost a little bit in sector 2. He's got it all back there. His best sector 3 and the 2 best outright sectors for 1 and 2. 45.2 for sector 2, 42.5 for sector 1. 1:58.7, 12.003 of a second faster than the best of the Mazdas. Top 3 within half a second, top 4 within 7/10.
Yeah, Nunez not on the quick lap this time around.
He's got 6 minutes though, Jeremy. Here he comes now. Looks cool, calm and collected. Economy of movement behind the wheel for Tristan. But Mazda is bumping around a bit and bouncing on the bumps, just slightly unsettling perhaps for the driver. 172.5 miles an hour through the speed trap for Sean Rahal.
Fittipaldi, he was shown as P6, wasn't he? Now gone to the bottom.
Oh, I wonder if they've disallowed the time. Haven't seen that coming up on the screen. Sure if we can find that out from race control, if Fittipaldi's time in the 5 is being disallowed. He did bounce up into that 6th position for a moment. Track limits, if the race control deem you have exceeded track limits, you will get the cancellation of that lap, and it happens pretty quickly.
Eric Curran improved again there to 3rd place now, 59.199.
Top 4 now within 0.6 of a second. Who has got anything left in themselves, the car, and more importantly, the Continental tyres. Most drivers have done at least 4 laps. Ricky Taylor in the Corvette.
Fittipaldi jumps into the 5th position, 59.4.
Right, so that's another sub-2-minute lap. Taylor coming round to the end of a lap. Tristan Nunez already on his 5th lap, but he's not going to trouble the scoring here, not even his best sectors. His best sectors, never mind the outright best. He's coming to the end of the lap now. Let's see what this last sector is. He looked pretty neat and tidy through sector 3 there, maybe setting himself up for one last tilt at a pole position. He's gone through the line. Joel Miller goes through just ahead of him, just waiting for Nunez to come through. It was the 70 car that comes through. Here's Tristan now. He's just gone past us. 31 to not great in the 3rd sector.
No, 8 tenths down on the best. Set by himself a couple of laps ago.
I think they're going to be picked by the smallest of margins. 3/1000ths of a second.
Great effort.
Taylor.
Great effort by Ricky Taylor. Really good effort.
He's wrung the best out of that Corvette prototype. Lap 2 for second lap rather for Fittipaldi was exceeding track limits at turn 19. The 10 car got their 3rd lap excluded, and the 60 car their 3rd lap excluded for track limits at 19. Thank you to race control for passing that along. And confirmation from Marshall Pruitt, by the way, that the 60 car does go away next year, as Ricky Taylor pulls into the pits with 2:50 to go. That's the end of Wayne Taylor Racing, and Tristan Nunez has just put in the fastest 1st sector. Traffic should not be an issue here. He doesn't have to find very much, Jeremy.
No, but he was 0.02 quicker than Taylor's best in the 1st sector. On his way now down through the S's.
He's got a 5.003 of a second. It's literally less than the blink of an eye. Comes through the 2nd sector and stops the clock where? 45.8.
No, not good enough.
It's not going to be good enough unless he's got an extraordinary 3rd sector here. Already, it's a short sector, this 3rd sector, running down through 19 and 20, maybe 18. You might gain a bit of ground as well if you've got the car set up perfectly.
That's 3 tenths away from Tristan's earlier best lap through that middle sector.
Joel Miller puts his best lap in, consolidates his 3rd position. Here's Tristan across the line, 1:59.117. But he's going to get one more lap if he wants it. And Mazda very good in the serpentine section from turns 1 down to effectively turn 10. Now I think he was on the radio there.
Yeah, and you would expect that. That's where the P2 cars really do use their ground effects. They're super fast through that 1st sector. And Tristan Nunez, he
big slide for Tristan through 7 into 8 and 9. Now has he lost time there? Let's see as he comes through to stop the clock at the end of the 1st sector roundabout now. Wait for the timing screen to update. It's down towards turn 11 already. Should be getting the time through 42.9.
4 tenths away.
Yeah, and that is going sideways for just a moment.
Yeah, Joel Miller was quicker through that 1st sector on that lap than Tristan Nunez in kind of a 70.
Predict that Tristan will come into the pits next time around. He's not going to improve. And time is going to beat him 3/1000ths of a second. How frustrating is that?
Great effort by Ricky Taylor. Really, really good. 45.7 middle sector by Joel Miller.
Nunez has backed off as Wayne Taylor takes a picture of another pole position from the timing screen. That one's for the family album again, 0.003 of a second. Beautifully, maybe saying, beautifully judged. You went 2/1000ths quicker than you needed to there. Took a bit too much out of the tyres.
59.2 there it was for Joel Miller, but that's not quite an improvement. It's a tenth of a second down in his previous best. So yeah, that will be a pole position once again for Ricky Taylor, and that will be Ricky's this season his first pole of the season. Actually, third in all.
And Shea Adam is down at Wayne Taylor Racing's pit area. The pole sitter's cap is on the head of Ricky Taylor. He gets the picture. His dad has already made sure that the timing screen is on the phone. And let's have a chat with the first-time pole sitter this season, Ricky Taylor.
Man, Ricky, that was a lap. You got 3/1000ths on the Mazda. You really laid it all down. First pole of the year. Feels pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I wish we could have had some more this year. The guys definitely gave me a great car all season, and I'm sick of those Mazdas on pole, and so it's nice to get one for the Corvette. And you know, our guys do a great job every weekend, so it wasn't a perfect lap. The track was very different from the other sessions, so you know, you gain a little bit in one place, lose a little the other, and I'm not sure it was the same for everybody, but just really excited. We got a bunch of Konica Minolta and DLL people here this weekend, so glad to do it for them, and hopefully we can do the same thing tomorrow.
And hopefully this is your first pole of the day, because I know you got qualifying coming right up after this.
Yeah, I'm about to try run over to the Labre Corvette, so can't get enough Corvettes today, and hopefully we can do the same thing over there.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, remarkable. That is his first pole this season.
Yeah.
He really run that time.
Yeah, all out of the middle sector. That's where the gain was for Ricky Taylor, using the power of that V8 engine down the back straight, and then through the difficult section. It's a technical section through turns 12, 13, 14, 15, where the mechanical grip really does count for a lot, and that's where that Chevy Dallara Corvette shines.
Yeah, I wonder if they did roll a little bit of aero off and say to them, you're going to have to live with the faster sections in 1 and 16, 17 and 18, but honestly, you'll make it up.
Yeah,
you will.
You will. It's just punchy. It's punching out of those corners, because that's the torque of the V8 engine, and the Mazda is quicker through the faster corners, but those corners around 12, 13, 14, 15, they're not fast enough really for the ground effects on that car to really work and suck it onto the ground. It doesn't carry quite so much speed through that section than the Chevy Corvettes.
Well, our full pole sitters then earlier on today in GT Daytona. Alex Riberas for Alex Job Racing, the Porsche on pole position for GT Daytona. In GTLM, Ryan Briscoe becomes the 21st different GTLM pole sitter since the merger of Grand Am and the LMS 29 races. 21 different pole sitters in terms of the drivers. In PC, Robert Alon gets another pole position for the 52 Prototype Challenge team. And Ricky Taylor, with his first of the season, puts the Wayne Taylor Chevy Prototype on pole for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship Race 2.